Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined once again this week. It's a three-peat. Jedi Jason Kruger joins me once again as we recap this week in professional wrestling, and stick around towards the end for a little, much like on last week's episode, a little bit of the stories coming out of this week in the G1 Climax tournament. But before we get in depth with our thoughts on what happened on Raw and SmackDown this week, this is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Jason and myself, we like talking about professional wrestling. We love professional wrestling. We like watching it. We love to discuss and talk about wrestling with other wrestling fans like you guys, the viewers. Mm-hmm. However, at the end of the day, we're not insiders. We don't have any insider information. Our opinions are just the same as yours, because despite our love and our knowledge that we think we have about how the wrestling business works, at the end of the day, we are just two marks. And
Indeed.
we have... It's been a big week, but it's kind of like, what is there to talk about?
Yeah, kind of.
There's big news, and there's a lot of big things on the horizon that we will discuss, but like in weeks past, the downside of all of it is, so what do you talk about? What is there to say about it other than, well...
Right, this is what's happening.
Well, this is what's going to happen, you guys. We got some, we'll get into it a little bit later. There's one piece of news that we're going to mention once, and then we're not, unless they really rock our socks. They're probably not going to rock our socks with this storyline that we'll talk about just that much. We'll talk about this one time, and then that'll be the end of it. We've got the Women's Evolution pay-per-view.
Not to be confused with the old stable.
No. But why would they recycle that name? It truly is a mystery. Evolution is a mystery. Yes. But shout out to JC for the pun there. You'd probably appreciate that one. We got a legendary match from other promotions finally making its way to a WWE ring for the title, no less. Maybe that NXT call-up slump will be broken, and yeah, well, that's we'll just go into Raw thoughts. So we're here with Raw thoughts, and I kind of gave a little bit of a teaser in the opening, but this will be the only time we talk about this storyline, unless they pull a huge rabbit out of the hat. You know, never say never, you know, as they say with everything in wrestling. This will be the last time we talk about this storyline. On Raw, Roman Reigns defeated Bobby Lashley to, once again, get a title shot at the Universal title at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. They denied us a dream match of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, and they're going to continue to push something that not just the internet losers, the internet virgins, fucking losers on the internet. No. A lot of people have overwhelmingly not liked this storyline, not liked the push of Roman Reigns. It may have changed, but the last tally, I think even the official WWE YouTube video of Roman's win has more dislikes than likes.
Doesn't surprise me.
You know, but they're the virgins! So
they couldn't have even given us a triple threat.
Yeah, they could. So you know what? This will be the last time you hear about this match at SummerSlam, unless they somehow change it or somehow do something where I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. No, we're done. We're done. We're not going to give anybody the satisfaction of well, you're talking about... Yeah, you're right. We are talking about this one time. And then that's it. Final word. There's a bunch of other things going on in the wrestling business right now that we can think of more to talk about other than the continued force feeding of Roman Reigns as the number one hero in the WWE. Sure. So as of this second right now, we are done talking about the Universal title situation until something of better relevancy happens, and I don't see that happening before SummerSlam, and who knows what's going to happen after SummerSlam? And I'm just going to be honest, I don't care. I don't care. And I'm not trying to be that fan, but I don't care. I don't want to be one of the stereotypical internet guys, but I just cannot find caring within me. So, yeah, that's the end of that. But something I do want to talk about is the, well, it was announced on Monday they're going to do an all-female pay-per-view. This is big. Apparently the finals of the Mae Young Classic will be there, and I think the thing that...
All 3 women's championships were defended.
The thing
including NXT.
Including NXT. Well, which leads me to my point. The thing that really grabbed me the most about the fact that they were doing an all-female pay-per-view. I mean, there's a lot. This means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But to me, what I finally thought was, wow, there's finally enough good depth in amongst 3 brands in the WWE Women's Division that you can do something like this. And there's no way this is going to be bad. There's no way they'll let this be bad. I mean, I shouldn't. Really, yeah. Like, you can't, like, they're unless you just, like... That's what. Unless you just bring in James Ellsworth to just fuck everything up, this won't be bad. Kind of hard to talk about it because we don't know other than
we don't know anything that's really happening.
Other than the
are being defended, but we don't know.
And then the finals of this year's Mae Young Classic.
I heard they're gonna have 50 women on the show. I did logistics on that earlier. And even if you did 10 matches, that'd be 5 women per match. So I'm going to assume there's going to have to be some sort of
multi-lady matches,
or some sort of big multi.
I know she doesn't wrestle, but would like just do my heart good for all of her previous work in wrestling and all of her work in training. If they gave Sarah Downer a match, that would be so cool. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I was really, when the Women's Royal Rumble happened,
the only time I've ever actually seen her on television was the finals of the Mae Young Classic. She was there with Stephanie to present the trophy.
Yeah. And the downside was, the only thing going to be bad about this pay-per-view is just going to be a lot of Stephanie McMahon going, look at this, yes, I did all this, yes, I'm Stephanie, yes, please, I'm the best thing ever, Stephanie, yes. So, you know what? If there's 100 things on there and she's one, 99 out of 100 ain't bad.
Right, exactly. You can tune it out for a few minutes.
Unless they have her ruin it with commentary like they did during the Women's Royal Rumble, but even still.
That's what the mute button's for.
Yeah. So that's not technically Raw. I mean, it happened on Raw. That's not really.
It was announced on Raw. It's obviously
going on Raw, but
company-wide plus some. But yeah. So that's all we know about it right now. That's all I know.
We'll be talking more about this as more information becomes available.
I'll do my best to keep up on the Mae Young Classic so I can comment on that side.
Right.
Get his thoughts on the rest, because I'll manage to make time for that with my wife. She'll want to see that. So. I didn't get around to the Mae Young Classic until like before the Women's Royal Rumble, just because.
Yeah. It's not even so much because I didn't want to watch it. It was just because like.
There's a lot out there.
There's a lot of wrestling on out there, and then like also just. Keep. Go to facebook.com/athleticgeek89. That would. I'm also keeping up with other books and stuff, so sometimes, like, even just keeping up with wrestling, somebody has asked me, like, why don't you talk about NXT more? It's like, I love NXT, Ciampa, champion, cool. But just with all the other things I'm keeping up with, the G1 right now, Raw, SmackDown, you kind of got to just pick and choose. There's stuff in the WWE that, on the main roster that I don't get to talk about as much, but... Yeah, that to me is the biggest news out of Raw. That's the most important news coming out of Raw to me.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting side note, Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman with the briefcase. You remember that?
Oh,
he challenged.
Yeah, that's not
match.
Yeah, they're more losing for Kevin Owens or looking bad against. I mean, he won, but he looked like a douche. Well, and I'm not just like, I get Kevin Owens needs to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my fandom of being, a fan of his for 11 years before he even came WWE, this, that, and the other side. Yeah, of course, Kevin Owens doesn't need to be coming out on top in all these scenarios. You know, Braun's Mr. Money in the Bank. You know, when he's our Hail Mary for me giving a damn. Yeah, he's kind of the last prayer we got.
Which is so ironic, but there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, to me, it's just a way for Braun. I mean, like, and they'll put on a decent match, you know. Owens has talent, you know. He'll be
at least Owens.
He'll be flying all over that fucking ring to make Strowman look like $1 million bucks. You know, Strowman will, when he gets his little, unless it's a complete squash, you know, when he gets his little chicken shit bad guy, you know, whatever, you know, that he needs in the match. Owens getting that on Strowman. Strowman make that look good. They're two talented wrestlers, so the show will be good. It's just, you're going to have to forgive me for, you know, maybe that's not something on my A-list right now.
That's fair. At least he's not lost in the shuffle like that.
Right
now, so there's that.
But yeah, there's really not a whole hell of a lot on
There's
Raw.
a big question mark. What are they going to do with Lashley at SummerSlam now? I'm just holding out hope. It's still going to be triple threat somehow. Sorry, we said we wouldn't talk about it again.
No, you're the one talking about it, Jed.
Fair enough. I did. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm remaining quiet. Yeah, it's just there's just nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about on Raw. Like there's you know, there's something that I'm, you know, taking a personal choice not to talk about, and everything else is kind of like, well, it happened. What is there to talk about?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what.
There's nothing super intriguing going on right now.
No, on Raw.
On Raw, yeah.
You know, the thing that I was. This just needs more time to develop. I mean, SummerSlam, you know, I'm sure Seth Rollins, you know, Ziggler and the Intercontinental, you know.
Yeah.
Something will happen with that.
We've got several weeks still, so.
But
at the moment, that's
the big news coming out of Raw is there was an announcement for an all-women's pay-per-view, and I'm sure it'll be great. But, you know.
That's not till October, so there you go. A lot of waiting.
So this is, yeah.
Roll on over to the Blueberry.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, unfortunately, it's just time for SmackDown thoughts. So SmackDown, there's a little bit more that we could talk about. Just a little bit, that much. Not a bit more. Big news for at least myself and Jedi here. A match that we have seen across many different promotions that we never ever thought would ever have a chance at happening in the WWE besides on a video game.
Yeah.
Is not only going to happen, it's going to happen at their second biggest pay-per-view of the year for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe will get it on in a WWE ring. And what can we talk about the fact that this is just, you know, this is just awesome
perfect.
for Joe and AJ. I wouldn't say perfect. I mean, you know, if they recreated, you know, the Ted Petty Invitational main event with throw Bryan in there too, but Bryan, we'll get to him.
Yeah.
This is just odd. Like, you know, for every bit as frustrating as the main event scene on Raw is, it's just like, at least for fans like us, it's the best thing you could possibly ask for over on the blue brand. And I'm so excited and proud of both guys to finally get this opportunity. I hope they're given sufficient time. I hope.
Goodness knows they won't get the best slot, but
yeah, I mean, like, you know, it would not surprise me if this opens the damn pay-per-view.
Be a heck of a way to open it.
Or if it's like number 3 on the pay-per-view, you know. But nonetheless, you know, hopefully they get more than just like 2 minutes.
Oh goodness, yeah. Hopefully they're allowed to actually go out there and have a good match.
Yeah. Because I mean, there are going to be people that watch this and are going to tell me, no, because this, Omega and Okada, Thor, or anything. And they got a point, already, set such a bar Omega and Okada have, and then Ciampa and Gargano have already set such a bar that, not even, that AJ and Joe, at 40 or nearing 40 cannot hit it, but don't be so sure. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to be better than Omega or Okada just because I don't feel like listening to people tell me how stupid I am because I didn't give that match credit as the greatest thing ever. But I'm thinking you could have a nice top 5 match, not the match of the year, but a nice top 5 contender on your hand here. If the crowd doesn't shit on it like they did Ziggler and Rollins.
Before that pay-per-view, I would have said no way. Now I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like to think that maybe they give guys like AJ and Joe the respect of this moment, this opportunity, this being a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah, you would hope, but
yeah, you just don't know anymore, and it disappoints me to say that. But yeah, that's pretty big. The other big news is maybe the streak will be broken, and no, we're not talking about Asuka's streak, but it's related to Asuka in a way. We're not talking about the Goldberg streak or the Undertaker streak. We're talking about the streak of NXT call-ups that have floundered.
Yeah.
Maybe we got one that won't, and Andrade Cien Almas.
Right.
They seem to maybe be wanting to use him well.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the killer match with, with...
Last week he had a match with Styles.
Yeah, AJ. Lost my train of thought wearing the damn shirt. I just lost...
It's all right.
I'm going to level with you folks here. I'm very tired right now. I'm very exhausted after a day of work. Usually I film these... we'll break the fourth wall slightly. Usually I film these on my days off. Today I got off of work early to film it, but even after getting off of work early, I'm still very tired. So that's why you see me with the energy drink and not the the bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep,
that's fourth wall breaking.
Soldiering on.
Yeah, so we're gonna push through because we love this show, but.
So last week,
Almas and Styles last week.
It was a losing effort, but it was a good losing effort.
He looked great.
It wasn't a squash.
Great match.
And this week he fought Rusev, who just challenged for AJ and looked pretty good, in my opinion. Extreme Rules trying to take on it.
The thing is that I said with that whole match is Rusev a good guy now?
Seems like he kind of just became a good guy by default.
Yeah, I know. I mean... You wonder... You couldn't help but wonder, okay, how much longer are they going to ignore this,
Right. Well, even during the Extreme Rules match, just the way he lost... I mean, even after Aiden English removed the turnbuckle cover and he hit his head, that wasn't the end of the match. That's not what took him down.
Right.
It still took AJ hitting another phenomenal forearm. I mean, it was essentially... It wasn't that much of a bad guy versus good guy match the way they wrestled it. It was more just two competitors going at it. So they kind of just did that, and now English kind of looks like the jerk. Rusev's just like the cool guy that's there. So,
and then Lana's there.
Yeah,
and Lana's just there.
Because Lana's just kind of there these days.
But yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking... Yep. My dog in the other room agrees. But I'm glad, maybe that streak will be over. Maybe, after Asuka, after Bobby Roode, after the Revival, after all these...
Sanity.
Sanity.
Yeah.
50-50 wins. But... Yeah, just maybe they finally found one hey... Let's not fuck this one up. And yeah, I mean, it's just I'm cautiously optimistic because when Asuka's first got there, we're like, all right, Asuka, she's winning the women's Royal just made myself sad.
Yeah.
But,
Sure.
you know, we're...
So, touch and go, but at least it's looking good at the moment. So
hopefully...
ever the undying optimist.
You.
Attempting to be.
Attempting to be. You, not me. Not me. Not me.
I put on an optimistic front.
So, and it's going there. It's what we've all been waiting for since Daniel Bryan was cleared to return. They're going to go ahead with his match with The Miz at SummerSlam, or for all signs after that little segment in the ring with with a fake baby and everything. For a minute, I thought Gene Snitsky was back.
You know.
But, I was really hoping that they'd hold off until WrestleMania with this and let it simmer and bubble even more. But, get to it while the getting's good.
Yeah.
Maybe you could revisit it around WrestleMania.
Possibly. Or
there's nothing.
Move on to something even bigger for Mania.
As of right now, there's nothing. Again, it's just there's nothing that needs to be said about it other than, well, it's happening. It started out as something that we didn't like. We were like, okay, well, there's good mic work from The Miz, but is this actually going to lead anywhere? Because Bryan's retired.
Right.
But now it's going to happen. It's a cliche, but in kind of a way, it was the match we never thought we would see.
Right.
Yeah, we did see it before, but we never thought we'd see it under these circumstances because we...
After all the verbal jousting, we thought, well, dang, they could never capitalize on that in the ring, and then, ta-da!
Yep.
So, and that combined with just all the different fuel that can add to the fire with the relationship. He's married to, one of the Bellas.
Right.
Therefore, he's on a reality show, and now Miz is on a reality show with his wife.
That's something...
Yeah, but they're going to use it.
They're going to use it, but it's just something like, it's just kind of... I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that does nothing for me. Maybe it does something for a section of the audience. I'm not going to completely bash. I'm just saying, from a completely...
Well, that's fair.
Me perspective, adding that does nothing to add any more to this feud other than what has been said. Going back to like when Bryan made his debut, he's always had The Miz around him, and now, in retirement, The Miz was, him and The Miz still didn't like each other, and,
Oh yeah,
we're here.
They represent two completely different paths of getting to where they got.
Right.
There's a ton of material to work with here.
The two different paths, but they all pretty well have done everything. The Miz has won every championship.
Yep.
So has Bryan.
They've
both main event wrestling. I mean,
yeah.
Bryan's main event is more fondly well remembered and felt like it earned, and then one main event's kind of one of those, oh yeah, I remember that.
Happened, yeah.
Yeah. But both individuals have done it all, and while the Miz to me is the example, he's the right kind of bad guy.
Yeah.
Like right now, like I never want to cheer for him ever. I'm never gonna buy his T-shirt, but I don't not want to see I don't want him not to be a part of the show. Like, you'd be stupid not to have Miz as part of your show.
My wife actually appreciates that he's there because he's one of the few villains that she loves to hate.
Right.
You got to work hard with her on that, Simon.
Well,
he's doing his job really well.
There are so many, and this is a little tangent off into some comic book and talk here. There's so many.
Why not?
Comic book fantasy world talk here. So many bad guys are so cool, or they have such a thing, that's all right, but I'm getting, from a personal level, I'm tired of bad guy, certain bad guys in comic and fantasy media of I love him so much because he's just so snarky, or he's just such an asshole, I can't help but love him, or he's so psychotically cool, or
right.
He hates this group of people and I also hate this group of people, so he's cool.
That's why half of them become anti-heroes.
Yeah, so you like them, and then I'm very behind on my Game of Thrones. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but the thing that stood out to me from the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones is I like King Joffrey. Like, I'm drawn to King Joffrey because there's no, oh, he's like Loki, who he's just such a smartass, and he's got such a good reason for being a dick that I just can't help but love him, and blah, blah, blah. Or he's like the Heath Ledger Joker, who's just such a psychotic badass, he's so cool. Or he's like Thanos, who's just such a monster, he's awesome. Like, even I don't understand, everybody loves Thanos, but everybody loves Thanos now. He's like Magneto, where he's just got such a good point. Like, I feel like I'd be the same way if I was Magneto, too. King Joffrey on Game of Thrones, and there's going to be a ton of Game of Thrones people that have seen a lot more than me. They're going to be like, well, you're forgetting all these other people. I've only seen 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. But I'm like, that's a bad guy that this medium needs. He's not so cool. He's not such a cool, fun, smartass. He's not so, well, I'd take his side too. Or he's awful. He's a bad fucking person. Mm-hmm. That's the role that Miz is born to play, and the role that he is cast in, the role he needs to be in. I don't really like the reality show thing because I feel like it kind of takes away from that a little bit, but, it's going to make Miz money, it's going to make the company money, it's going to make the network money, fuck you and your opinions, kid. But the Miz is the ultimate, he isn't an entertainer, he isn't like, a bad guy to where oh, he's so funny. No, he's not. He's just a dick. Mm-hmm. He doesn't wrestle so good. You're like, yeah, but I can't help but love him. No, he just kind of, he does his thing. And that is a breath of fresh air to wrestling. People said that Jinder Mahal was doing that. No, fuck Jinder Mahal. The Miz is doing that, and the Miz is doing it better than Jinder Mahal ever could. Because I turned the channel for Jinder Mahal. I want to see the Miz still get his ass whipped.
Yeah. It's a big difference there.
So,
personality.
Right. So that's
anyway,
pretty much...
That's the biggest news.
That's the biggest news.
There. Those 4. AJ and Joe and Brian and Miz. That's the big thing.
Optimism's out on Almas, and then see where this all-female pay-per-view goes, and hope... I'm sure it'll be good, but, I'm just hoping that... WWE doesn't go full nuclear disaster like they did with Asuka on this pay-per-view. I don't think they will let it. It's too important. Yeah. It's too important. But that's pretty much it. That's it for this portion of the video this week. If you have anything that you want to add, let us know in the comment section below. We'll get back to you. Add your voice to the discussion. Be sure to stay tuned after all this, where I will cover the main stories going out of this week in the G1 Climax tournament. It's really heating up at the time of this recording. Another breaking the fourth wall, spoiler alert. I'm going to be talking about the G1 on different days than this is filmed. I know, right? Crazy! But anyway, as it stands right now, Kenny Omega is the first man to 8 points. That's as of today. There might be different things I talk about after this. But Kenny Omega is the first man to 8 points. He's undefeated in B block. And Jay White and Tanahashi, if I recall correctly, because I don't have all my stats right in front of me, they both have 6 points in the A block, but the tiebreaker would go to Jay White because he defeated Tanahashi in their singles match. If you want to kind of have a quick update, just, check out last week's episode and just fast forward to the end of it. Or not, just give us more love. But stay tuned for that part of the of the video. Cover the big news from this week in the G1 Climax, but before I repeat myself, I need to get some sleep, it seems like. But that is Jedi Jason Kruger. He doesn't have social media because he's got kids. You got kids? Yeah. I am the Athletic Geek. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And for more content, go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. But for Jedi Jason Kruger, I'm the Athletic Geek. Repeating myself again because I'm extremely exhausted. We are just 2 marks. We are out. Stay tuned for the G1 news.
Thank you all for sticking around, and this is this week's top stories coming out of the G1 Climax 28. At the time of this recording, IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega is the only undefeated competitor in G1 Climax competition, and he is the first competitor to reach 10 points in his block. Omega has been undefeated in singles competition since Dominion, and that has raised speculation that Kenny Omega might be the first person to go completely undefeated in the G1 Climax. That's a tall order, especially with upcoming challengers like Kota Ibushi, his partner in the Golden Lovers, and his next challenge of Zack Sabre Jr. But if things continue, the Best Bout Machine may be the first IWGP Heavyweight Champion since 2000 to win the G1. If Omega is able to win B Block, that will be 3 G1 Climax Finals appearances in a row for him. If he is able to win the G1 Climax 28, he will be the first IWGP champion to get to choose his challenger for Wrestle Kingdom, since that stipulation has been added in recent years for the G1 Climax tournament. With all this momentum on his side, the Best Bout Machine looks to continue to change the world with his IWGP Heavyweight Championship reign. There are some new faces sitting atop A Block, and one of them is not just a Dark Horse. He is the King of Darkness. He is evil. After his most recent victory in the G1 Climax against Hangman Page, Evil is now tied for number 1 in the A Block with 8 points. Though he has yet to face his most difficult leg of the tournament, his upcoming matches will be against Jay White, Minoru Suzuki, Kazuchika Okada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. If he is able to pick up wins and keep the momentum going, especially against people like Tanahashi and Okada, it shows that New Japan is putting a lot of faith and a lot of stock in this man. A great showing in the G1 Climax, and a potential future match against Chris Jericho for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship may just go to show that the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling is evil. After losing to Kazuchika Okada earlier this year in his quest to reclaim the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and subsequently having his record for most successful title defenses being broken after that match, a lot of people felt that the ace of the company, Hiroshi Tanahashi, would be transitioning out of the role of ace and more into a Legends role to help up-and-coming talent. However, if you've been watching this G1 tournament, you will know that the ace isn't quite ready for that just yet. After his most recent win in the G1 against Togi Makabe, the Ace of the Universe, currently along with Evil, sits atop A Block with 8 points. Though Tanahashi still has to face Evil and his eternal rival Okada, the big news and the big story coming out of this week in the G1 is, does Hiroshi Tanahashi, the once-in-a-century talent, the Ace of the Universe, does he have one more run to the Wrestle Kingdom main event left in him? As a fan, I'm really intrigued at this possibility. Here you have Hiroshi Tanahashi, the man that is considered to be the savior of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the man that brought New Japan out of the dark ages in the mid-2000s and helped get it to the level it's at now, having one more shot at the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in a Wrestle Kingdom main event against the man who is spearheading New Japan's international expansion in Kenny Omega. I feel like it'd be a great story and something I'd really like to see. But first, Tanahashi has to get through Evil and Okada.